But first, Western Mass News is digging deeper on a video we first brought you Monday showing a suspect waving a gun around and pointing it at police officers in Springfield. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday for Western Mass News at 6. I'm Jordyn Jagolinzer. We are learning more about the police response and that suspect. Western Mass News reporter AUDREY RUSSO is live for us in Springfield with what we found out. AUDREY?
A risk to public safety happening on Sunday afternoon. And Springfield police say that it was something, a relatively small feature of the gun that the suspect was holding, that officers knew at least for a few seconds it would not fire. It's Sunday evening, and Jose Montanez is captured on Springfield city cameras waving a handgun around on High Street. Court records show officers arrived on scene after a shot spotter indicated multiple rounds were fired. Officers ordered Montanez to put the gun down, but you can see in the video he refused, at one point even pointing the firearm at an officer. But it was one detail about the gun officers say they noticed. The slide was locked back, meaning it could be out of ammo and unable to be fired. Just how much time that bought officers?
Gives them maybe another second or two. If the gun is loaded, maybe another few seconds if it's totally unloaded and he needs another clip.
And according to the court records, Montanez had another clip with bullets in it that was recovered in the arrest. Police Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood tells us it was the officers' training that kicked in, and they were able to make the arrest without firing their own guns.
It's about making good decisions in split-second time. So these officers made the decision they did. I stand by that.
Western Mass News found additional court records that show Montanez was arrested earlier this year for trespassing and breaking and entering. The records show he posted $500 bail. Following this firearms arrest, Montanez is being held for a dangerousness hearing. Clapprood hopes he stays behind bars longer.
He's definitely a danger to society, the people in that neighborhood, and the officers.
Montanez is charged with assault with a dangerous weapon, firing a gun within 500 feet of a building, and carrying a firearm without a license. Live in Springfield, AUDREY RUSSO for Western Mass News.
AUDREY, thanks for that live report. Developing news today as a man was killed this morning in Springfield after an oxygen tank exploded. A warning that the video Western Mass News obtained may be disturbing to watch given the outcome. And the moments before the explosion, you can see the man hitting an oxygen tank on the ground. You can see it there on your screen. We then stopped the video because what comes next is disturbing. The man is knocked to the ground by the impact of the explosion, and fire officials say he died almost instantly.
Oxygen is a safe substance, but if it's not handled appropriately, you get problems with it. You oftentimes see people with flash fires while they're smoking with their oxygen on, or you'll get a smaller injury from an oxygen valve popping.
Fire Commissioner Calvi says there were multiple tanks found on scene that were removed and deemed safe.
Well, believe it or not, we actually hit our high temperatures early this morning. We were in the 70s all night long. I think at 8 a.m. we got back up to about 74 degrees in Springfield and Westfield. Orange hitting a high of 75. Then the rain came in and cooled us into the 60s, where we've spent most of the day. Right now, as we look at the Doppler radar, we're still dealing with some moderate, even pockets of heavier rain here across Western Mass. Pioneer Valley especially, out toward 16 acres, Wilbraham, Palmer, seeing an increase in rain right there. Munson getting ready to have some heavier rain come through, as well as Northampton up toward Amherst, and then maybe a little bit down there in southern Berkshire County. Though Berkshire County is starting to see rain lighten up a lot, right on the outer edge of this band of rain that's slowly pushing eastward with our cold front. But once we get behind that band, skies will eventually start to clear. Right now it's still overcast and should stay that way until the sun goes down. 62 degrees, dew points are right around 60, so we are feeling a little bit of mugginess out there, but it's not terrible. Middle to lower 60s across most of the Pioneer Valley, with some 50s in the hill towns. And we're still hanging on to that moisture in the valley, but it's not feeling as muggy in the Berkshires. Looking at your hour-by-hour dew point, it will be dropping as we head into the overnight, so becoming cool and more comfortable with lows bottoming out in the 40s. Some very nice weather will follow. I'll have details in just a few minutes. Jordyn?
All right, Janna, thanks. The MassMutual Center is preparing for a full calendar of events this year, including concerts and the return of the Springfield Thunderbirds. But one concerned viewer reached out to us about what parking plans are in place ahead of a big renovation to the arena's parking garage. Western Mass News reporter Matt Satilli joins us now live in Springfield, getting answers tonight. Matt?
Jordyn, the Thunderbirds dropped the puck for opening night in less than 3 months. And as hockey fans are eager to return to games for the first time in over a year, some are wondering, where can they park? Western Mass News received this question from a concerned Thunderbirds fan who asks, what is the status of the MassMutual Center parking garage construction? Hockey season is a few short months away and fans need to know about the parking situation. Thanks. We reached out to the Massachusetts Convention Center Authority, which oversees the parking garage and the arena, to get answers. We received a statement that reads in part, quote, the MCCA is working closely with the City of Springfield on the garage project, as well as identifying alternate parking options during the construction phase. The MCCA adds that the project for the 1,200-spot garage is underway, with demolition of the structure tentatively set for spring 2022 and completion by 2023. Looking further into alternative parking, we took our questions to Springfield City Councilor Malo Brown. He says limited access to the garage will require thinking outside the box.
If we can somehow use it, we can use it. We're going to try to have to be creative as possible.
Brown identified the project as a good opportunity to call upon local businesses.
I would love to partner with a lot of the businesses over there because there's adequate parking.
And the project could be used to revamp other areas of downtown, including the waterfront.
Me and the mayor have a real passion of that waterfront. Sometimes things like this can revitalize because it's only right there.
But a walk from the waterfront would require added safety measures.
And then make it safe as far as police details with the crossing.
While the season is only a few months away, Brown says it's still early in the process, and the city wants to complete the project the right way.
We want to get it done, and we want to get it done right, and we want it to look pretty.
The MCCA tells us that the garage is currently operating at about 75% capacity, with 800 of the 1,200 spots usable. Western Mass News also reached out to the Springfield Thunderbirds and the MassMutual Center, who did not reply to our request for comment in time for this broadcast. We will keep you updated as construction continues. Reporting live in Springfield, Matt Satilli, Western Mass News.
Matt, thanks. And if you have a question or something you want us to look into for you, email us at gettinganswers@westernmassnews.com. Just be sure to include your name and phone number as we work to dig deeper. Food shortages are causing restaurants and grocery stores to raise prices. Also, some owners say they're still dealing with a staffing shortage due to unemployment checks. Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis is live for us in West Springfield with more. Leon?
Jordyn, being short-staffed at a restaurant not only impacts the business, but also the prices too, as I found 2 food establishments paying more to accommodate customers.
I can talk to my supplier, they cannot get drivers. So they're paying their drivers more. Therefore, my products are going to cost more money showing up in my house.
Peter ROSSKOTHEN is the owner of Log Cabin in DELANEY House in Holyoke. He's explaining to Western Mass News why prices have gone up on his menu. But he says it's not just him.
I think restaurant prices are up at least 7% to 15%. We're probably right at the 10% range right now.
With costs going up, he is working with a smaller staff, leaving one server to wait on up to 20 people at a time. He tells Western Mass News one recent Saturday night he had to limit the number of people coming inside. He says hiring people is a challenge.
So you put 10 people through the process, and there's a few that don't show up. There's a few that just show up for the first day. And then you just, I would say out of every 10, maybe 2 kind of stay.
ROSSKOTHEN says it's a matter of people choosing to stay on unemployment rather than take a job. Over at Calabrese Market in Delhi in West Springfield, the owners are putting in more work.
Right now, I would say, honestly, me, my son, and my wife who own the restaurant, we're probably working the hardest we've ever worked because we're so short-staffed, you know what I mean? We're doing all the extra things.
They too are having supply issues and say they had to raise prices by at least 25% across the board, and the cost of chicken went up by 40% because of availability.
At the same time, they're also out of items. They're out of chicken. There's certain items that there are shortages on.
The extra $300 a week in federal unemployment benefits is expected to last into September, including here in Massachusetts, but many other states are ending it early as the vaccine becomes more widely available. Live in West Springfield, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.
All right, Leanne, thanks for that live report. New at 6, the 14 county sheriffs across Massachusetts announcing an agreement to allow inmates to stay in touch with their families. Hampden County Sheriff Nick Kochi sharing that news that inmates across the Commonwealth will be allowed 10 minutes of free phone time each week. Jails across the state will also charge no more than 14 cents per minute for calls. Kochi says that number will be 12 cents per minute in Hampden County. Kochi also saying everyone in his custody can request a free video visit with family. The Department of Public Health releasing today's COVID-19 data. The state's positivity rate over the past week sits at 0.34%. There has sadly been one new death due to the coronavirus, and so far, more than 58% of Massachusetts residents have been fully vaccinated. For a full look at the numbers, check out our free Western Mass News streaming app. A follow-up now to a Western Mass News exclusive we first brought you Monday. The woman who found a pit bull dumped on the side of a road in Granby is getting a few bites on finding a new home for the dog Chance. She tells Western Mass News residents reached out after hearing the story on our station. There are multiple meet and greets scheduled today and tomorrow with Chance at the Granby Pound, where he's being held. If you're interested in adopting Chance, you can visit our website, westernmassnews.com.